You know, there are a million things that were said about the comfort zone and getting out of that are already told and already said, and it's pretty self-evident. But what I want to talk about, something that isn't often talked about, and that is the internal part of that comfort zone, because we're all very ready to rush into life and try to do things, and that's all well and good and very important. But what about the things that you're actually avoiding? What if your attempt to get out of your comfort zone is actually another attempt to run away into a comfort zone? Oh, pretty paradoxical, right? But let's get into it. Here's the thing. Your comfort zone, at the most basic level, at the most primitive level, are the things that you haven't done. You're like, I'm bad at socializing. So how about I go to some common group that does a hobby and try to make friends. Very good. Totally encourage it. That's great. It'll call out various things in you. It'll require you to grow, etc. You don't like your body. Go to the gym. Great. You're afraid of this. Do that. Great. That's great. But here's the thing. When are you actually going out of your comfort zone, and when are you actually running away from the things that distract you? Because one thing that I noticed with quite a few people that I know and people that I work with, they suggest things for themselves to do, but sometimes those things are like, you're kind of already doing it. And I mean, sure, you can do that, and it depends on the situation. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes not. But here's what I'm talking about, which is, what about that intense fear, anxiety, and pain that you feel inside yourself emotionally? The fact that you're trying to go somewhere, do something, are you not actually trying to run away from that high intensity pain? And what if you're trying to run away from that high intensity pain with a lower intensity pain? You're like, I'm going to face this lower fear of mine because I don't want to sit at home and do nothing, because you know what's deep down there, that deep, deep, deep fear, that deep pain, that deep insecurity that you have. I don't want to be there. I don't want to talk to that. Thank you. The reason why I got inspired to do this video is because, I'm always doing my own inner work, obviously. And I had some deep, deep inner work relatively recently. And let me tell you, it was gosh darn awful. It was very intense. It made me face things which I didn't want to face for probably decades, And here's what I'm going to tell you, It was the best thing that happened to me. The kind of energy release that I got from it, the very fact of this intensity that I have right now, it came from me dealing with that. And when I look back into it, I realized that in many ways, the things that I was trying to do to get out of my comfort zone, I was kind of running around with distractions. And sure, that maybe they were helping me a little bit there, but they weren't making a fundamental difference. For whatever reason, though, I got the experience to experience some deep, profound shadow work. It's something that I haven't experienced for years, frankly. And oh my God, it was like days of just living in hell, okay? But what I decided to do is to go, okay, I am in this, and I've been through a few rodeos myself. I know the process, I know this stuff, I want to say all the way through. There's always stuff to learn, but I know it pretty well. I've been doing it for 10, 15 years, okay? So I decided to go all in. Basically, when you go all in and you got, okay, I'm conscious enough to not get lost in it, but I'm gonna dive purely into the suffering. I'm gonna just become the suffering. I'm gonna become the fear, become the pain. I had moments where I would just spend an hour or two just sort of walking and just verbalizing the things that I was silently thinking. And it shocked me. It shocked me because I'm like, Jesus Christ, I was thinking these things inside my head for years and years. Well, no wonder I was experiencing a lot of these challenges in life. Shit, man. Like, the things that I was telling, they were awful. They were disgusting. They were horribly insecure, fearful, painful, evil at moments. And I was avoiding that. I was avoiding that with the surface, oh, I'm going to do a little challenge for myself, or something like that. Well, how about the challenge that deep fear and anger and anxiety that you have right now that you don't want to face? And you're going to do your little sport, you do a little distraction to distract yourself from that. And hey, I'm not saying just go dive into it, because that shit is serious work. You have to have some degree of awareness to deal with that, okay? So when it comes, deal with it, okay? But here's the thing. Pretty much the biggest, most transformational moments in life are gonna come when you're gonna deal with that. And you don't wanna hear that, because you've been marketed this bullshit idea of self-development where it's just think a positive thought. It's like, well, here's the issue. You're thinking negative thoughts. Deep down, if you're even drawn to these concepts, you have something to work through, as does everyone. So you already have those. You're already thinking those. And you're thinking those to the degree where it most likely you're not even aware of how deeply you're thinking them. You're not even aware that you're repeating it all the time at the deep parts of your mind. It only comes through when you get really tired and like, oh man, just fuck this, everything sucks. Okay, yeah, get in that. Get in that, deep in that, and survive that sort of a ride through hell, basically. Here's the good part though. What you'll realize is that it's actually made up bullshit. It's a thing that for whatever reason you experience some trauma or whatever, and it's like a broken record tape, just keep repeating itself. And once you become aware of it, you'll go, I'm just making shit up. I'm just repeating it. Why am I repeating it? Who's even talking? Who's talking here? Why am I talking like this? That's a fucking great moment, because you start realizing that, hey man, it's kind of made up. It's also terrifying, because you know what? I've been living like this for years. Oh, it makes sense now that I self-sabotaged that relationship. Oh, it makes sense that I ruined that career opportunity. Oh, great. Oh, this is why I joined the gym and I didn't manage to stick through for a month or two. Oh, yeah. See, a lot of things like that will unlock themselves to you. And I had multiple of these intense moments through my life because I've been doing this work for so many years. Let me tell you, after the most recent one, immediately every single area of my life in terms of like productivity and focus and motivation just skyrocketed. Now, there was a price to pay for that, so to speak. Very intense experiences. But that's where real growth is, because real growth, like if we're gonna be like very mechanical, right, and theoretical, here's the thing. You're running let's say a certain kind of energy supply, okay? If a part of that energy is rerouted into repeating these negative things, not only is it, of course, influencing your life in negative ways based on how you negatively self-talk, but also your energy is capped. You're not running it 100%. And I know what it is. I mean, because getting to that 100% is basically enlightenment level stuff, whatever that is. But you're running on limited energy. You have to reclaim that energy, and reclaiming that energy, that's the only way to do it. So you need the sort of positively oriented methods to create these new directions for your energy to flow, right? Because while you're living this life here on Earth, you need to channel your energy into something. So you better create those new pipes that are ready to channel that energy into something that you need and want, the practical stuff. But when you tap out, right? When you're like, where do I get more energy? Here's the thing. Well, you have to turn back to that darkness deep down and go, oh, I have to get down there? Yes, down there. Exactly. That's where most potent energy lies. That's like, oil or something. It's black, but it has a ton of energy density in it. And oh boy, if you can harness that, it's going to be great. Okay? And it doesn't mean to, oh, I become the nihilistic, evil person or whatever. No. It can be purified. That's alchemy, okay? That's what mental alchemy is about. That's what I'm fascinated about. It's what works, and it is what got me to where I am right now, right? Where I was a very stuck in my head, neurotic, always stressed out kind of person. And I mean, of course, to the degree I still have plenty of things to work on, but the progress that I made was amazing. And here's the thing, you have to understand, it influences the real life that you live in, okay? Because through my life while I was doing this, every moment when I get that sort of a processing of these deep, intense, dark elements in me, like the real things that I fear about, the real things that are out of my comfort zone, it becomes like a drastic step in terms of my progress. My relationships improve, my work improves, my focus, my creativity skyrockets. Everything sort of goes up a whole level, right? Instead of just, when you do it regularly, it just sort of gradually builds up. But when you encounter something like that and you really get down into it, oh boy, it's like a explosion. Now, the issue, of course, with this is that it is very difficult. It's very painful. It's very hard to do. And I would even say that it seems that your psyche has certain limiters that are limiting the amount of darkness that you can see, because you have to build up your capacity to handle it, which is why I think it is a dual approach, which is what I always say to people that I work with, and this is something that I apply religiously to myself as well. You have to deepen your capacity to self-regulate. You have to deepen your capacity to reach those higher states of consciousness yourself, okay? And the more you do that, the more you're capable to sling back into the darkness, to transmute that energy and get back into the light or wherever, or more properly maybe into the neutral states or whatever. It doesn't matter. These metaphors, not for this video anyway. So you have to do both. So if you're not ready to tap into the darkness, you really need to go towards sort of the light, or go build out those habits. Learn to relax your nervous system. Learn to create visions in your mind that are very positive, that are very inspiring, okay? Connect to that. Connect with love and all those feelings, creativity, inspiration. And when the time comes and you're like, ooh, because interestingly enough, by the way, circumstances in life will arrange themselves accordingly, where you're like, if you look at this as a moment to do some deep inner work, here's a perfect moment to step out of your comfort zone. Something will probably happen, fortunately or unfortunately, in your relationships, in your job, some accident, something seems to happen during those moments. Maybe it is a sort of a synchronistic expression of the fact that it's coming up, but here's the thing. Don't be afraid. It's not real. It's just voices in your head, you talking to yourself. It's not really real, and it can't hurt you. It's just feelings, thoughts, and emotions. All you have to do is to observe them. Observe them, breathe, suffer through them, breathe, suffer through them. And soon you'll start realizing that, is this even real? It's kind of made up, and in any way, yeah, I can live through this. And then you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you'll realize, oh my God, I'm finally being set free from things that have been controlling me behind the curtains for years and years of wasted time and wasted energy. So go out of your comfort zone. But how about instead of that simple little jump into going outside or something, which you should do, but that's, for another video. How about you jump into the most disgusting, fearful, horrible things in your head that you can imagine? But do that when you're prepared. Train yourself to self-regulate. Master yourself. And these opportunities will arise. And when they arise, be ready, because it'll be a challenge, but you will go through it. And on the other side, oh boy, you'll realize what you have been missing, and it'll be great.